Recently published statistics from the New Mexico Public Education Department has reignited a complicated discussion on gender. We saw highlights of the state standards-based assessment results in a recent story in the Albuquerque Journal. And last year across the state, the difference between four-year graduation rates between girls and boys was 9% in favor of girls. In reading, boys scored about 10 percentage points below girls. There appears to be no definitive answer as to why and what explanation there is and why this is so complicated, Sophie. I realize we're in a new era of how we view the classroom, so to speak. And part of that is understanding that boys literally cannot sit still.
And
I can't tell you how much trouble I got in as a kid over this, too.
We've seen a real
Could you imagine?
reduction.
I mean,
And we see complaints about this from parents and from educators. We've seen a real reduction
Right.
in the amount of time that can be dedicated to physical activity
That's
during
right.
the day.
That's right.
And, you know, I think one of the real challenges is that when we look at that issue, there can be a tendency to talk just about boys. Girls need physical activity too.
Agreed. Yeah.
It's across both sides. I think one of the really damaging issues that we see here is, you know, researchers will tell us there's not a significant difference between boys' brains and girls' brains. They both need many of the same things to grow into educated, healthy adults. But what we are seeing is that society continues, I believe this is part of it, society continues to present to boys the opportunity to get ahead without education or with less education than girls have. And at the same time, those opportunities are diminishing. And so it's perceived as more of a problem that boys see that they are communicated to, that they have other options throughout their lives, and then get out and discover that they don't necessarily. We still don't have an equal playing field between boys and girls once they get out into the workforce. Less educated boys get better jobs than more educated girls. And so it's
What incentive do they have?
It's a
then
much,
to-
right,
yeah.
thank you. It's a much more complicated system than just gym time or how are we teaching reading. It's what do we as a culture, as a society as a whole, what do we want to be the end result? Do we want true equality, and will we reinforce it
Sure.
in our policies, our hiring, and the message we send to kids?
That's a good overall.
a long thing.
No, that's terrific, because it sets up the rest of the conversation quite well. Because Stephen, you know, it could be argued that it's a setup against boys, the structure that we have now, which is basically the same structure we've been using for about 150 years in education here in our country.
That explains a lot.
You know, absolutely, absolutely. You know, so our policies are behind the reality. It seems like we can't get policymakers to understand this. That you can't just sit still and learn and keep your mouth shut and learn. And sometimes it takes something extra.
Well, you know, if you go back to ancient history, when I was a boy, it seems to me that girls were always outperforming boys.
And that
all
is
the way
actually
through-
true.
Yeah,
I would
That is
agree.
true.
yeah, and through grade school, through high school, they were more interested in education.
right.
They were more literate.
That's right.
They thought grades were more important. And so, to some extent, I think what's happened is that natural barriers for girls have been reduced, and so girls are doing better and better and better. And if you look at the national statistics, basically boys are improving too. It's just that girls are improving more,
Right.
and they've also caught up with boys in the areas that boys were a little bit ahead on.
Sure.
So I think, you know, there's no definitive answer. I mean, I know for me, I got started with enjoying reading. I loved sports, still do, and someone turned me on to sports fiction at a public library, right?
Yeah.
And then, but what's happened here in Albuquerque, for example, our public libraries are underfunded.
Right.
What are one of the first positions to go at schools? The extra person, the school librarian.
Right.
So it's not just the schools. It's you know, it's the parents,
Sure.
it's the libraries, it's the overall system. But I think you can argue that to some extent it's a good thing. Girls are doing better, and they should be doing better.
Is it, Dan, a function? I don't want to lean into this too much because I have a bias here. I'm a guy, of course, but it's the discipline issue when I read about this. If girls know how to stay out of trouble, basically, and just learn, that works out well. But if you're just naturally being a boy and you're constantly in trouble, you're constantly on this lower tier of education at that point. Have you witnessed this as well with your own kids? You've got boys. I mean, there's just a different
I witnessed it
attitude
with the way
about
I
it.
was raised. I mean, I get
Okay.
it. I got 3 boys and 1 girl.
Sure.
There's clearly a difference.
Yeah.
The 3 boys are a lot alike, and the daughter is completely different. I will tell you, You know, I have been studying this other than to say that, you know, my daughter's a lot more cerebral. My daughter likes to read. My daughter will take herself away from the computer. My daughter will do things that are more important to her about making sure her homework is done and things like that. The boys will, you know, it's about going to football practice. It's about getting to the dance. It's about, you know, making sure their car runs. And, you know, it's about playing video games with other folks. I find, one of the things I find interesting is that boys seem to be more group oriented. You know, they got to be in a group. They got to have their time occupied.
That's what we have heard for generations about girls. The girls socialize.
See, and I don't see that. I see my daughter as more, she socializes, but she is not so dependent on, you know, what are 5 of her friends doing tomorrow night? My daughter is more geared towards, she wants to do the things she can do. I find it interesting also in my family that, you know, with the 3 boys that are all in athletes, 2 college athletes. Now, my boys all make great grades. They've all always done well in school, thank God for their mother. You know, my daughter, we tried to get her in sports, tried to put her into sports, encouraged her, but I always found it interesting that the boys, no matter which one, if they had an opportunity to go play a sport or go watch their brother, they wanted to go play.
That's right.
My daughter, if she had an opportunity to go play a sport or go watch one of her brothers, she'd rather go watch her brother.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's true. I think there are some very distinct differences, and I think the data does show that there are differences in terms of how boys and girls are hardwired. But I feel concern around this tone, boys versus girls conversation. I think there's another element to add a little bit more complexity to the conversation around how we're measuring the gaps in socioeconomic and race. Because we see that there is a clear gap in both of those. And so I would encourage us to think about it in not just the boy versus girl theme. I think that's a real zero-sum game, and I think we need to think more broadly.
So are you saying it's different?
One thing.
Are you saying it's different? Are you saying that these trends that everybody's talking about with boy versus girl are different based on poverty or different based on amongst the same
That's
group?
exactly what I'm
So
saying.
you're saying that this disparity between girls being here, boys being here, is
Then there's
one
an
thing.
extra layer.
Right.
Then there's an added layer of
Middle-class and
subgroup
upper-class
groups.
boys tend to do just as well as the girls.
As the girls.
It's ethnic groups. It's boys brought up in poverty.
And lower income.
With lower incomes that tend to underperform, and so it's those kids that we need to be sensitive
But do the
to.
girls in the
But how do
same
you do it?
position? But do the girls in the same position? Do they outperform the boys? If you take a boy
Yes.
that's in this
Simply, yes,
socioeconomic
yeah,
and then a
true.
girl,
That's
does the
what
girl
the-
still
And one of
outperform?
the
That's
things
what the
that I
data
think
does show.
happens there is that, to an earlier point, is that there are messages to boys at lower socioeconomic levels. The people they see around them, are people doing jobs that do not require the education. And you think of the modeling that your parents do. Your parents have degrees. You're more likely to get a degree. Your parents don't have degrees. You're less likely to see that as an opportunity or a necessity. And so we see a lot of self-reinforcement on the socioeconomic level that comes just from here's who my role models are, and here are the messages that I get about just to sort of pull in another crazy difficult topic. The conversation about minimum wage and the idea that teenagers need to be out getting jobs. Higher income families, their teenagers have internships.
That's right.
Lower income families, the kids get jobs, and they may often end up deciding, unfortunately, that the job is more valuable to them at that time than education.
You know, it's interesting. You hear people talk about hearing what you just said,
30
Sophie.
seconds,
Hearing what you said, Sophie. When I hear people talk to my kids about school, my boys, if they don't get an education, they can go drive a truck. They can be this. They can be that. They can be. If they talk to my daughter about not getting an education, she can go get married. That's like the only option. Either get an education and go make something of yourself, Hannah, or you're going to wind up getting married.
we've gotten
And
those
Josh,
messages from
Tristan,
our-
Tim,
from our
right?
parents.
You,
Yeah.
if you don't work out to be a brain surgeon, you could be a contractor. You can be a plumber. You could be a truck. There's a million jobs out there.
You can be a dad,
Right.
right? Not
Right.
you can
From
be a
that
dad.
perspective, I think it is important that we address gender in the larger sort of societal messages that we're sending our kids. I
Yeah.
think that's exactly right.
Thank you all for being here. It's a great subject. We'll revisit this one for sure. Have a great holiday weekend. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Gene.
For more news of the week, archived interviews, and other bonus material, head to our website at newmexicoinfocus.org. Also find us on Facebook and Twitter by searching New Mexico in Focus. As always, all of us here at New Mexico in Focus appreciate your time and your effort to stay informed and engaged. I'm Gene Grant. We'll see you next week in Focus.